Bang bang MMA gang. Now today's video we give UFC 302 predictions. Now this card, I ain't gonna lie, this card is a banger, bro. It's the first minute of YouTube. Can't really say no F words, all that. Y'all know the deal. The card is a banger, bro. Let's be honest. The card is a banger. I'm gonna go quickly through the prelims. I'm just gonna give you my winners, no breakdowns, just quick winners. And I'm going to give you full main card predictions. Starting off, we have Niko Price versus Alex Morono. Now, shout out to Niko Price. The guy took the fall with Robbie Lawler. That was it was the most fixed fight I've ever seen in my life. He took the fall for Robbie Lawler. Shout out to Niko Price, but he's going to get absolutely dominated by Alex Morono. It's not going to be competitive. Niko Price got a dog, but he's going to lose. Alex Morono by finish. Moving on, we got Philip Rowe versus Jake Matthews. Give me Philip Rowe. Moving on, we got the return of the American Khabib, who got fluke KO'd by one and only Bobby Green, Grant Dawson. Grant Dawson is going to absolutely demolish. When I say demolish, he's going to do bad things to Joe Solojczyk. Joe, you're in for a rude awakening. Grant Dawson, they put him down. Like, they gave him a competition that's kind of not up to par to what he was going to get. But, man, Grant Dawson is he's going to do some bad stuff to you, Joe. And sorry, Joe. I mean, there's not much we could really say, bro. Shout out to you. Shout out for you to taking this fight. But you are going to get absolutely demolished. It's going to be bad for your career. And we got Cesar Almeida versus Roman Kopylov. I love Roman Kopylov. Roman Kopylov has one of the best body shots in the entire UFC. Roman Kopylov is such a great boxer. I hate that he doesn't have good wrestling. He went to Dagestan. He developed good defensive wrestling and like fishing for underhooks and all that shit. But Anthony Hernandez did what he got to do. But Roman Kopylov is a problem in this division. He's going to get the finish round one. Moving on. Now we have the main card. We have Randy Brown versus Zaleski Dos Santos. Randy Brown, like, when people think of Randy Brown, excuse me, bro, that was extremely unprofessional, and I would do it again. Listen, bro, the thing about Randy Brown, he's tall, he's lanky. The guy reminds me of, he could be like a Sean O'Malley, tall, lanky. If he had better feints, he could be like that, bro. But he tends to, like, ever since the Jack Della Maddalena loss, he tends to have that little bit inside of him, that quitter inside of him. It's not like, bro, Jack Della Maddalena submitted you, bro. Like, what are we talking about? Jack Della is a stand-up striker, bro. You get submitted by Jack Della? Come on, bro. Randy Brown, you're a solid fighter. I think you've learned from that. You still have a little bit of quit in you, but man, ever since that last fight with that one Dagestani, the old head, bro, I'm telling you, is Muslim. I'm forgetting his fucking last name, Muslim. Yeah, I got Randy Brown via finish in the first round. The resurgence of Randy Brown is back. Moving on, we have the one, the only, the fighter that people now hate for some reason just because of the way he beat Derek Lewis, Jailton Almeida versus Alexander Romanov. Now, Jailton Almeida will get underrated because of his performance versus Derek Lewis. People look at that fight and go, you can't finish Derek Lewis. But it's Derek. I mean, Derek Lewis does get finished by a lot of people, but Jailton just resorted to, fuck it, I'm just going to have top control. I'm just going to do what I got to do to win this fight. Because if I let this motherfucker stand back up, he might knock me out. And he did just that. Now, his fight versus Curtis Blades. Are we going to elephant in the room? I think he was 10-9, almost could have been a 10-8 in that first round versus Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades didn't get nothing off. He took him down, held him down. Every time he got back up, held him against the cage. And come on, bro. The only thing about Almeida... Yes, top of the fucking food chain jiu-jitsu. Like, I'm talking about for heavyweights, I've never seen a heavyweight with that type of jiu-jitsu. But it's implementing it. He's a very good jiu-jitsu player. He needs to implement it more. I think 100% he gets to finish versus Alexander Romanov via submission. And it's going to be early second round submission versus Alexander Romanov. Jailton Almeida is going to be back on the scene. And shit, we might even see Jailton Almeida versus... I would love a Curtis Blades rematch because we all know Curtis Blades was going to lose that fight. Curtis Blades just got him crotch sniffing and just took his head off. But I think Curtis Blades, in my humble opinion, not Curtis Blades, Jailton Almeida will make a resurgence back in this heavyweight division. And yeah, Jailton Almeida for his second round rear naked choke. Moving on. Kevin Holland. Ooh, big mouth Kevin Holland versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Now, Kevin Holland, it's make or break for you, bro. It's make or break. We always gonna have somewhere for you in the UFC because you're a big name now. Like, ever since Dana started calling you big mouth, ever since you talk shit in the cage, you're always gonna have a big name. So you're always gonna have, not big fights, but anytime Kevin Holland fights, he can be like a premier fight, like the featured fight in a main event. He's gonna be a main event fighter. He's always gonna be opening up a main card, or like a second fight, even a featured fight like this one. But this is make or break for you. If you lose to Oleksiejczuk, it might be like over for you. Like, you know, on facing those guys with hype and stuff. Like, it might be over, bro. Like, you lose to Jack Della, you lose to Michael Venom Page. I don't know, bro. You lose to Kevin. I was about to say Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland loses to Wonderboy. He has a win in between there. But come on, Kevin Holland. We need you to make a resurgence. Oleksiejczuk is good. He did beat Gideon Jacani. Yeah, bro. This is a make or break for Kevin Holland, bro. Get your head out your fucking ass, Kevin Holland. This is a make or break for you. I'm going with you. Now, Mikhail Oleksiejczuk is like, when you look at journeyman, he's the definition of a journeyman. This is your chance for you to get an absolute big KO in the bright lights of UFC 302. I'm going with Kevin Holland via finish in the second round. Moving on. We have the American Patriot, Sean Strickland, versus Paulo Secret Juice Borrachinha Costa. Now, people are underrating Paulo Costa, and I don't get it for the life of me. Now, does Paulo Costa have power? He does have power. Does he have knockout power? That is, if he's not fighting somebody old, Paulo Costa, I don't really see the knockout power. Like, he be catching people flush. They don't go down like that. Like, he couldn't finish an old, like an old Luke. Like, what are we doing? He did get a spinning heel kick versus Robert Whittaker that stumbled him. Maybe could have got him out of there if it wasn't the end of the first round. But I don't know, bro. I like Paulo Costa. He has great jiu-jitsu. Believe it or not, we don't see it a lot. He has great jiu-jitsu. But he has the effect that Justin Gaethje has, and he has the effect that Michael Chandler has. The guys that can grapple. Well, Justin Gaethje can't really grapple. He has good wrestling. He doesn't have good all-around grappling. But guys that can grapple that just choose fucking not to, for the life of me, I don't get it. Why are you not grappling? He has that fucking... he has that humiliation fetish where it's either I'm going to knock you out or you're going to knock me out. So I don't know what it is about Paulo Costa. Is he going to win this fight? I'm on the fence. But if push came to shove and I had to pick, I'm going with Sean Strickland, simply because Sean Strickland just has more ways to win. Sean Strickland is a great defensive grappler. He's a great wrestler. I don't know. He's another guy that's not going to wrestle. But Sean Strickland, ask Jorge Masvidal, who used to train with him at American Top Team. Sean Strickland could fucking grapple. But Sean Strickland won't grapple. He's just going to stand up. He's going to box. And if it's a point fight, Sean Strickland wins. If it's a knockout, it's not going to be from Paulo Costa. If anything, if it's some sort of a finish, I can see Sean Strickland tagging him a couple times, dropping him, and getting the finish. But I don't see that either. I see this fight going the distance. And I have Sean Strickland via points in a unanimous decision. I'm going to go 49-48 for the winner. By unanimous decision. Not 49-48, 48-47. For the unanimous decision, Sean Strickland. Leon! We have the main event of the fucking evening. The fight I've been waiting for how fucking long. Islam Makhachev. Khabib 2.0. Father's Plan. Versus Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Now, before I get into Islam Makhachev and the masses of the UFC media and UFC fans and UFC pundits all around, Islam Makhachev is a great fighter. Islam Makhachev, it's kind of hard. Like, I'm a Dustin Poirier fan. that's out there. It's been out there. But it's kind of hard trying to find a weakness from this guy. This guy has great stand-up. Like, his stand-up is great, but I'm going to tell you why it's great. Fucking airplanes walking around. I'm going to tell you why his stand-up is great. Islam Makhachev, his threat of the takedown is so... The margin of fear that he puts, the threat of his takedown into his opponents is so great and is so wide that his striking becomes better. Now, how does that fucking make sense? Well, MMA gang, how does that make sense? Now, if you're fighting somebody and you have the constant threat that they're one of the best grapplers in the UFC that can take down almost anybody in the UFC and have taken down everybody in the UFC that they faced. If you have that threat in front of you, you're always wary of him taking you down. So his striking becomes, oh, is he gonna do a double leg here? Is he gonna do a single leg here? And then it becomes a high kick. And that's the reason why he can get a high kick versus Volk. He can get all these like check hook versus Oliveira. When your like takedown rate is that high and it's that scary, because it's not only the fact that you're a good takedown, because like Michael Chandler could take anybody down, Mateus Gamrot can take anybody down. When it comes to taking people down and holding them down, he can do that. He's one of the best at control. So it's going to be really hard to face guys and them to go all out like a Gaethje and a Poirier when they fight each other, how they go all out, or like a Adesanya and Alex Pereira. Most of the time, there's no threat of the takedown. So I can go crazy. I could throw a high kick. I could throw all that. But on the side of Islam Makhachev, the reason people say Islam Makhachev defensive striking is so good is if I'm scared of that takedown, I keep saying this, but if I'm scared of the takedown, I'm not going to be as willing to go forward versus a guy like Makhachev who's going to hold me down the whole round or even submit me. So I'm going to keep my distance, play the distance game until I can get like a check left hook, a straight right, a great counter or something like that. That's the reason why his striking is so good and his striking defense is so good, is because of the threat of his takedown. And I applaud it. But for this fight, I'm going with Dustin Poirier by knockout. The same right hook he got all of his fighters out with, all of his opponents. I'm going with Dustin Poirier by finish. Now, when you ask me, MMA Guru, Lucas Tracy, Henry Cejudo, Kamaru Usman, all of these guys all say I'm going with Islam Makhachev. Now, let me bring you to a point. Sean Strickland versus Adesanya. Sean Strickland had no chance. Sean Strickland won. Dricus versus Robert Whittaker. Dricus won. You start looking at certain stuff. Ilia Topuria versus Volkanovski. Ilia Topuria won. The number one example I want to bring up when it comes to striker versus grappler is Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley. Now, Aljamain Sterling was facing a Sean O'Malley. Was it a hip or what was it? Or was it a rib? Something was broken. I think it was a broken rib, to where he couldn't grapple the most of that training camp. That guy, you had him against the cage, couldn't take him down, and he flatlined you. So, who has, in my opinion, better grappling? Sean O'Malley or Dustin Poirier? And I'm going Dustin Poirier. I've seen Dustin Poirier have an attempt a Peruvian necktie, almost get Akira Corsani out with a Peruvian necktie. I've seen Dustin Poirier with his omoplatas versus Dan Hooker, with his armbar versus Dan Hooker. I've seen Dustin Poirier get out of a rear body triangle versus Benoit Saint Denis. Get out of it did have an armbar, but he knew the angles. It was the end of the round, but he knew the angles to which it couldn't break his arm. I've seen Dustin Poirier submit Michael Chandler in a way where Michael Chandler has never been submitted before, in a way where Charles Oliveira had Michael Chandler's back with the body triangle and still couldn't submit him. I've seen Dustin Poirier submit Max Holloway. I've seen Dustin Poirier darce Jonathan Brookins. I've seen Dustin Poirier darce everybody. Like, I've seen Dustin Poirier get up from Khabib multiple times. I'm going with Dustin Poirier simply because I know and I have a feeling that it won't even be grappling. I have a feeling that the Khabib camp and the Islam camp keep saying something special. I know what it is. He's going to feel Dustin Poirier's power for 1 second and then shoot for his fucking nuts and try to fucking submit him. But that's not going to happen. I think Makhachev's going to go in there with the mindset of, you know what? People are saying I'm just going to nut hug this kid. I am going to flatline him. He's fallen like, it's like Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns has one of the best jiu-jitsu in the UFC, but barely uses it. He's fallen in love with his hands. Same with Michael Chandler. All these guys fall in love with their hands. I think Makhachev, after knockout versus Alexander Volkanovski, has fallen in love with his striking. And like he tripped, don't forget, he dropped Oliveira too. So I'm thinking, in my humble opinion, he's going to try to stand with the Dustin the Diamond Poirier. He's going to get success a little bit, push him against the cage. Islam is going to try to do a high kick or something. And then we're going to see a check left hook. Correction. Check right hook. Dustin Poirier drops Islam Makhachev and absolutely finishes him, showing us that the one, the only Dustin Poirier flatlined Islam Makhachev. And that's that. The whole narrative that Dustin Poirier, Islam Makhachev is the most unbeatable fighter ever. We'll see. We'll see June 1st. Saturday, June 1st, Dustin Poirier becomes champ, raises his hand, does not fucking retire. After flatlining Makhachev, they're going to call for the rematch. We're not going to give it to them, and we're going to wait for the winner of Chandler and Conor McGregor, and we're going to fight them at MSG. We're going to fight Conor. If Conor wins, we're going to fight him. If not, we're going to fight Arman at MSG. Book it. That's MMA Gang's predictions for UFC 302, and that is that. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend that the MMA Gang is in, and that is that.